Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I am Nikolai Edwards. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Persad receives honorary professorship from Chinese government. Trinidad and Tobago Embassy opens in the People's Republic of China. And latest commercial air transport carrier JetBlue makes its inaugural flight to TNT. Thank you for joining us. During Day 4 of the state visit to the People's Republic of China, Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad paid a special visit to China's Agriculture University in Beijing, where an esteemed honor was bestowed upon her. The Prime Minister's visit has seen the birth of an exciting relationship between the University of the West Indies and the China Agricultural University. Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad SC is now an honorary professor. The title was conferred on her by the China Agricultural University on Wednesday, where the Honorable Prime Minister visited during her official visit to the People's Republic of China. Mrs. Persad said she was deeply humbled and honored to receive the honorary professorship. She said it came as a major surprise, as she only learned of the award half an hour before arriving at the university. The Prime Minister told the students that she used to be a university lecturer before entering politics. During the visit, the Prime Minister witnessed the signing of an agreement between the University of the West Indies and the China Agricultural University. In 2013, President of China Xi Jinping, during his visit to Trinidad, initiated the setup of a Confucius Institute at the UWI St Augustine campus to cement mutual understanding and friendship between the two countries. Within 3 months, the UWI CAU Confucius Institute was launched. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Persad and her husband Dr. Gregory Bissessar were guests of Chinese President Xi Jinping and First Lady Peng Liyang at a banquet dinner at the State Guest House in Beijing on Wednesday night. This followed her visit to the Children's Hospital at Fudan University, where she distributed gifts to the children. Staying with news in China, on Wednesday, the government of Trinidad and Tobago established an embassy in the People's Republic of China. The embassy was officially declared open by the Honorable Prime Minister Kamla Persad.
The year 2014, the month and date being February 26th, will forever remain historical to both citizens and residents of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the People's Republic of China. On this day, an embassy bearing the red, white and black flag, which symbolizes our courage and dedication, purity and equality, was officially hoisted, marking the official place of business of the government of Trinidad and Tobago in China. The embassy was officially declared open by the Honorable Kamla Persad Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, who along with a delegation is currently in China on an invitation of the Chinese President who visited this country last year. This official visit to China, which is the first for Mrs. Persad began on February 24th and will end on February 28th. Prime Minister Persad opened the TNT Embassy at noontime in Beijing. Trinidad and Tobago's ambassador to China, Mr. Chandradat Singh, had said that setting up a mission in that country was long overdue. He said trade would be a priority item. The ambassador stated that Trinidad and Tobago would move to address the trade imbalance, which is weighed heavily in China's favor at this time. Meantime, according to China's Xinhua news agency, China and Trinidad and Tobago have pledged to enhance cooperation in areas including infrastructure construction, security, culture, and people-to-people exchanges. The pledge came out of talks between the Chinese Premier and Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister. Speaking highly of the cooperation between the two countries carried out during the 40 years since the establishment of ties, Premier Lai said China will work with Trinidad and Tobago to beef up exchanges, consolidate mutual trust, and deepen cooperation to lift the bilateral relations to a new high. Prime Minister Persad echoed Premier Lai, saying Trinidad and Tobago is grateful for China's assistance in its social and economic development. Felicia Wilson, More News 4.
TNT is said to benefit from enhanced border protection with the introduction of long-range patrol vessels courtesy the People's Republic of China. This after it was agreed that Trinidad and Tobago would acquire the vessels from the Chinese government to assist in coastal border protection. The government of the People's Republic of China has promised to deliver a long-range vessel to the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard in the shortest possible time. Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Bissessar SC expressed delight on Tuesday after receiving the news, saying she convinced Chinese Premier Li Keqiang that the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard needed 2 vessels to lock down this country's borders in light of the increase in arms and narco-trafficking. Prime Minister Persad led a TNT delegation to bilateral talks with the Chinese Premier and top officials of the Chinese government at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. She brought a list of proposals to the table, hoping to convince her Chinese counterpart to assist with the knowledge that China was building 2 LRVs and pleaded with Li Keqiang to sell one in the shortest possible time. The Prime Minister also sought assistance from the Chinese in the establishment of a national operations center, saying that a Chinese company was already interested in such a project. Mrs. Persad said a team from the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard recently visited China and proposed that Trinidad and Tobago acquire 1 LRV right away. Both the governments of China and Trinidad and Tobago will sit down and deal with the financial aspect of the purchase. In her discussions, the Honorable Prime Minister also sought assistance with the construction and design of 6 new economic zones in Trinidad and Tobago, the development of a transshipment port and dry dock in South Trinidad, the early processing of a loan agreement with the China Exim Bank so these projects can be expedited, the construction of 2 new hospitals, and the removal of asphalt from the pitch lake in greater capacities. The Prime Minister thanked the Chinese for the scanner at the port of Spain and said her government was interested in purchasing more. She said Trinidad and Tobago was strategically located to become the gateway of the Americas, which aroused the attention of the Chinese premier, as he said it was something which his government would explore. 4 agreements were signed on Tuesday in the areas of health, sport, energy, and civil aviation. Meanwhile, Transport Minister the Honorable Stephen Cadiz is congratulating New York-based low-cost air carrier JetBlue for taking advantage of the sudden growth in the tourism market. The move is seen as a step in the right direction to boost airlift to the destination. Award-winning JetBlue is the latest international airline to begin flights to Trinidad.
Minister Cadiz believes JetBlue is just one in a long list of international airlines which are realizing the importance of expanding to the Caribbean. He explains Trinidad and Tobago has seen an immense growth in the tourism market, and this is evidenced by the increase in the number of flights leaving and arriving at Piarco International Airport.
The last year and a half, we were able to bring 3 new international flights into Trinidad. And I know we are here to talk about JetBlue, but what was amazing with this is the 3rd international flight, and then in May will be the 4th international flight coming in. And what was amazing was the market grew. It's not a case of we took market share from anybody. Yes, there will be some of that always, all right? But the fact is that the market grew. And when I say grew, I'm talking about 50% growth. I'm talking about, for instance, Copa Airlines. I know flying a totally different destination, but Copa Airlines has a 2nd flight on now, and it has done so well that they're now moving from 5 days a week with the 2nd flight to 7 days a week with the 2nd flight.
The Transport Minister explains the growth in the airline industry is inevitable, particularly for island nations like Trinidad and Tobago.
In this business, the airline industry is the industry that really and truly provides for tourism. We live on an island. You can't drive to Trinidad and Tobago. You actually have to fly here unless you come by boat. And therefore, airlift coming into Trinidad and Tobago is absolutely critical and essential to the growth of the industry. And not only the tourism industry, but of course, Trinidad and Tobago, as you know, we move. We love to move around. We love to go on holiday. And the only way you can really do that is through the airline industry.
Minister Cadiz is praising JetBlue for what he assures is a smart business move.
I want to assure JetBlue that the decision to come into Trinidad and Tobago was by far an excellent decision. I think they're going to do extremely well. They're going to provide a different type of service to our traveling public, which is always a good thing. And we really and truly hope to see not only one out of New York and one out of Fort Lauderdale, but maybe we start to see additional flights coming in.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
After the break, Mount St Benedict Sports Complex to be rehabilitated. Stay with us. Welcome back. Government is throwing its support behind local school boards as Cabinet has approved Act 3901, Regulations 3 and 4 to the Act of the Constitution of Local School Boards for 85 government secondary schools. Minister of Education, Dr. The Honorable Tim Gopi Singh, made the proclamation during last week's post-Cabinet media briefing. Cabinet has agreed that within the provision of Section 23(1) of the Education Act, Chapter 3901, school boards will be implemented at all government secondary schools.
Cabinet agreed that in accordance with the provisions of Section 23(1) of the Education Act, Chapter 3901 and Regulations 3 and 4 of the Education Local School Boards regulations made under Section 86 of the Act, to the Constitution of Local School Boards for 85 government secondary schools. We are also providing local school boards for 123 government primary schools, but these will be provided in clusters of schools.
The minister says they are ensuring that local school boards will be established at all of the 85 government secondary schools. There are 134 secondary schools in Trinidad and Tobago, 49 of which are managed by denominational boards, which are religious bodies. These schools will continue to be administered by their own boards.
We had 39 government primary schools boards before, but we're now expanding that as well. And these boards have become part of the strategic arm of the schools, lending support to the principals and assisting with the achievement of school development plans. The board constitutes, amongst the constitution of the board, is about 9 members in each board. They constitute the principal, another member of the school staff, 2 members of the Parent Teachers Association, a member of the Student Council, a member of tutor, and 3 members of the community.
In the movement to the establishment of strong management teams, the local school boards at the government secondary and primary schools will be assisting the schools in their managing practices.
When the communities become involved in the school's performance and the school's management, the school's performance improves, and the dysfunctionality that we are seeing now within the school population in terms of the bullying and some of the irregular activities, these boards will lend a tremendous contribution towards managing some and preventing some of these major areas.
The minister says Cabinet also approved the formation of a local school board unit within the Ministry of Education that will continue the process of institutionalizing the local school boards. He adds there is a need to continue the monitoring and evaluating of the performances of these local school boards while working with them to ensure strength in the system. Government has signaled its commitment for the rehabilitation works being done on the St Benedict's sports complex in Tunapuna. During a media post-cabinet meeting, Minister of Communications, Senator Gerald Hadid, told reporters restoration works will begin soon to the tune of $12.3 million.
Minister Hadid says the project to upgrade the sport facility of this religious complex commenced in 2007 by the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited. Preliminary works were done on the site, including demolition of the pavilion and outfield works. However, he says to date upgraded works on the sport facility of the complex have not yet been completed, leaving the facility in a deplorable condition and the community which it serves without a proper modern and user-friendly sporting recreation.
In fiscal year 2013, a site visit of the facility conducted by the sports company revealed structural defects to the foundation of the swimming pool, damaged walls and ceiling in the changing room, poor drainage system, a defective tennis court and overgrown football playing field, and broken electrical systems in the main office buildings. The scope of works necessary to have the facility adequately repaired and improved to acceptable standards was presented. Based on the preliminary concept designs, the budget for the refurbishment of the sports facility is estimated at $12.3 million.
The minister said the sports company has indicated that a phased approach should be facilitated for the completion and rehabilitation of the works within a period of 2 years.
As we all know, that we need to ensure that the youth of our country experiences the best possible facilities for sporting activities. And the government is pleased to announce today that we would be undertaking the rehabilitation of these grounds.
Mount St Benedict consists of several buildings, among them a church, a convent, and a guest house. It attracts numerous people as it offers a myriad of pursuits including retreats, counseling, and a sporting facility. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
The Mayfield Bridge, located in North Valsin, which collapsed due to heavy rainfall and flooding in July 2013, has been restored. Work was completed on February 14, 2014, and was officially opened to residents earlier this week. Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Dr. the Honorable Suraj Ratan Ramachan, met with the Chief Executive Officer of Community Development Services Limited, Mr. Reyes Patel, and expressed his delight that the Mayfield Bridge was completed 2 months ahead of schedule. Reconstruction of the multi-million-dollar bridge now spans some 22 meters in width and accommodates 2 lanes of traffic instead of the previous 1 lane. In the interim, a temporary Bailey Bridge was installed to allow residents access to their homes while the permanent structure was underway. Sport news is next. Stay with us. In sport news, the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association's grassroots football caravan stopped in Mova last weekend at the Coconut Drive Recreation Ground. Wayne Cunningham spoke with TTFA Technical Director Anton Cornell, who had a full house of enthusiastic youths.
Footballing icon Lincoln Tiger Phillips was on hand at the Coconut Drive Recreation Ground for the latest leg in the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association's Grassroots Youth Community Clinic. Joining him was one of the nation's leading technical football minds, Mohamed Issa. As the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association Technical Director, Anton Cornell welcomed the participants.
This is where the future of football lies. Not just in Trinidad and Tobago, in any country in the world. It starts right here. And we can show you so many players that have been through similar situations, similar programs, and where they are today. It's the main reason we are here. Is it being done here only? No, it's all over Trinidad and Tobago. And this is your time, and I know that you've had coaches here, like Mr. Dinoon, who have been having programs for many years.
Also present was national midfielder Denzel Theobald, as he continues his contribution to the program.
Here with us is a former national team captain, Mr. Denzel Theobald. Denzel. Denzel has done an amazing job leading young players now, not just on the field, but off the field. And I think that's so important to us right now. We need leaders like that. We need people like that to be the examples, and he's done a wonderful job.
Coach Cornell told us more about the program.
Actually, it's really a two-way initiative. One, it's a program where we got balls donated by Lifestyle Chevrolet in the US, and now we have been supported by Lifestyle Chevrolet here to help support what we are doing. And we tied that into our grassroots programs. So this program, we hope when we leave this area that they will continue a grassroots program on their own. We will help support them with equipment, with balls, with cones, with bibs, and also a manual which would help them, would help guide them. So we'll have some consistency throughout the country. And one of the things that will start probably 3 months into the year will be grassroots tournaments, where instead of them just practicing, they can now come together and have a fun day of a tournament. That's probably going to start, I would say, the end of April, and we'll have one a month.
Point Fortin, Blanchisseuse and Manzanilla have already benefited from the initiative. But why so young?
This is development. A player needs time. So you're talking about getting an 11-year-old to age 17. That's true development. This is just the age that's appropriate. the coaching that's appropriate for this age right now. So we have to make sure these kids leave with the right foundation. Hence the reason this program is done, and then they can move into other programs where they will continue to excel. But it's important for us not to miss the basic part of the game. That's the basic skills, passing, receiving, controlling, shooting, and that football awareness. So that's what we will make sure this age is done, and then players will start growing.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
40 Carnival is next. Stay with us. Epic. That's surely the most appropriate word to describe the amazing night of entertainment produced by reigning double and joint soca monarch Machel Montano. Montano entertained the massive crowd gathered at the Hasely Crawford Stadium in for the highly anticipated Machel Monday 2014.
Since his adolescence, Machel Montano embarked on a mission to combine various musical genres and cultures. But on this night, he upped the ante and brought generations, nations, and worlds together on stage for what may have been his greatest concert production ever. The show attracted in excess 20,000 patrons and lasting almost 5 hours.
I represent Heather Jones International, and this is my 4th Machel Monday. And so far the vibe is nice, everybody having a good vibe, everybody having a good time, and I'm looking forward to the song with Machel Montano and Boyz II Men. That's what I'm looking forward to right now.
I love everything about Machel Monday. The vibe is incredible, the energy on the night is incredible, the energy all day is incredible. It literally is Machel Monday all day.
My first Machel Monday. It's my second. I've been looking forward to Mayfield.
We always come. We love Machel Monday.
The multimedia show featured entertainers from around the globe, including R&B legends Boyz II Men from the US, Timaya from Nigeria, and Bollywood star Mahalakshmi Iyer. 5 champions from the Free Speech Project punctuated the musical segments with powerful spoken word pieces on themes such as Unity by Keegan Mirage. Major Lazer rocked the stadium and sent Machel Montano into the crowd inside a ball for a roll around, while Cohen Dubois' songs echoed throughout the stadium from the united voices of the masses. Dubois was poised and executed well, making good use of the massive stage, its wings, and even the scaffolding to the front. The popular singer-songwriter and producer seems ready and eager to claim the groovy soca monarch, but that race seems to be hard fought, with contenders like Daryl Famanapi Henry. The night also served as a catalyst for a legendary segment of the program, which included appearances from Poser, Sylvester Lockhart, Johnny King, and Dennis Plummer. Montano was in rare form as he took the massive audience on a musical journey through space and time, while also introducing, cueing, thanking, celebrating, and appreciating the many guest acts. Expressing love and appreciation to each guest act, Montano saved the best for last when he brought out soca queen Destra Garcia near the end of the show. It's rumored the two artists have been at odds for some time and have not performed on the same stage together for several years since their hit collaboration, It's Carnival, was released in 2003. However, in April last year it was reported the pair did perform on a truck together during Jamaica's Carnival celebration, preempting the touching reunion at Machel Monday. Montano seems to have finally perfected his magical formula for Machel Monday, but with his 2 Soca Monarch titles up for grabs on Fantastic Friday, we can assume the best of Double M is yet to come. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
That's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I am Nikolai Edwards. Thank you for joining us.